going to start with our feet together. And we're going to think about just isolating the legs from the rest of the body and keeping the pelvis nice and still. We're going to draw one leg up the inside edge of your other leg, your standing leg. I'm pointing my foot and my big toe is touching my knee. Hips and shoulders are nice and square, and then I'm going to place that foot back down. My feet are together or as close together as you can, and then I'm swapping sides. I've just got my hands on my hips, elbows out to the side. I quite like that. Absolutely no, if I face you, no curly feet here. That's a curly foot, not nice. Really nice and straight with that instep. Might give you a little bit of cramp, hopefully not. So those toes are pointed, the standing leg is nice and straight. The bottom, my top, is level. There's no hitching. So you can see where all these isolations come in. You're lifting the rib cage off of the hips. Good, one more. Let's add on to that. So you're going to lift that leg. And we're going to hold the thigh still. In fact, hold on to your hand, hold on to your thigh with your hands. Extend the lower leg, bend the leg back in and place it down. Swap sides. Lifting, hold on to your thigh, extend. So the thigh stays still, you're just extending that leg from the knee joint. If that's too much, you could just turn and be near a wall, that's absolutely fine, or just take a little lift, so you don't have to lift all the way up to your knee. Ideally, I'd like you there. You could just be here, just touching that lower leg, hold on to that thigh, extend. So we're isolating that lower leg. Keep going if you can, to the top, so you don't need to hold on to the thigh anymore, hopefully. The foot stays pointed. And I'm going to take one more. Great, next exercise. Lifting the knee up, foot is touching the inside of the other knee. Now I'm going to really keep my hips still, absolutely facing forwards. It helps if I put my hands there. I'm going to turn that leg out only. This one is still parallel. As far as I can in that hip joint. Foot is staying pointed, no curly feet, no resting the foot on the leg. All lots of cheating. Come back to the centre and lower and swap sides. We're lifting, isolating this thigh bone, this leg in your hip socket without changing anything else. Standing tall all the way through. The standing leg is having to work quite hard. Whoop, my hip just made a lovely little clunk. If you feel this in your hips, if you're feeling that there's a clunking going on, make sure you're lifting up even more. Sometimes it's just where the tendons cross the bones, and sometimes, so for me it's always this right side. It didn't go that time. It's just because you're not lifted up enough, you'll collapse. Let's do one more of these each side. I quite like to put my thumbs on my ribs, fingertips on my hips as well, making sure that torso stays absolutely still. Great job. We've got one more movement. We're going to take the leg to the back. I'm going to go slightly sideways here. So lifting the leg up, always coming through this sort of gateway if you like. I'm going to flex that foot, take the leg out behind me. I'm going to bend this knee, my standing knee. I'm going to hinge over my hip, so I'm in a diagonal line, and then come up and then lower up to the top, flexing the foot, hinging over this hip. Shoulders and hips are absolutely square to my front, bending that knee, straightening that leg to come upright. Here we go again. So lifting up, flow, oopsie, thought that might happen. Lifting up, flexing, pitching forwards. So I'm looking in the mirror, I can see hips and shoulders absolutely square. Lifting, pointing that foot. Pointing the foot, flexing. I feel like I'm pushing out through that heel. I'm looking at the alignment of this knee, ankle, thigh. Everything's in line, my body's square. pitching forwards. There's a hinge over this hip as well. I'm not collapsing in my back. Nothing has changed in the torso. Great, okay, let's add all of that onto one leg. So, standing on one leg, we'll go twice through, I think. So we'll go to the front, to the side, to the back, to the side, front, side, back, side, on one leg, and then we'll swap to the other leg. So lifting up, extending the lower part of the leg, coming back to here, not putting the foot down in between. Sorry, I probably didn't make that very clear. We're opening out to the side, coming back to the centre, hands on the torso. We're taking the leg behind, flexing the foot, coming upright, turning out to the side. In fact, let's come back to parallel and put that foot down and try that on the other side. Second time round, we'll do it twice through. So lifting, no change in the hips, no change in the waist. Extend that lower leg, bend in, turning out, come back, pitch forwards, hinge over the hip, flex the foot, create that beautiful diagonal line. Lifting, turning out one last time, keep those hips absolutely square, back to parallel. Good, twice through this time, and we're going to hold the leg at the back at the end. Lifting up, extending, lifting, turning out, parallel to the back, flex that foot, holding that there, so the leg's not very high, lifting, turning out, back to the centre, extend, one more round, out to the side, centre, hold it here a moment. Shoulders and hips nice and level. My hands are at the side. I've brought my elbows quite far forwards. From here, I would like you to try and rotate your shoulders towards that standing leg. Come back to square. Open out. My hands are just fingertips, 4 of these if you can. They're just moving around my body, but I'm very aware that my elbows are out to the side. My arms, the shape of that hasn't changed. Let's do 2 more. In, this is the easy one. Towards that knee is easy. When you open out, here's the last one. That hip, really wants to join in. And back to there. And lift, 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 lift to finish off, and lower. Ooh, good job. All of that on the other side. So the movement that we're looking for when we're doing that rotation, if I just show you here, you're there and there. It's the shoulders. I'm not moving the elbows independently. I'm trying to take the whole lot right. So my hands are moving around my torso a little bit. Okay, so here we go. So hands just on the torso, lifting up, extending, lift, turning out, back to parallel, pitch forwards, flex that foot behind you, lift, turn out to second, come back, extending, last round through, lift, turning out. Here we go, taking that leg out behind you, holding it there. Rotate towards that bent leg. My head is still looking forwards. I haven't turned my head to the corner. Come back to square. Rotate away from that standing leg. Just with your shoulder girdle. We're isolating that shoulder girdle. Probably the hardest way to do this. It's really tough. 2 more if you can. Rotate. Good balance, good stability on that standing leg. Keeping those hips still. Ooh. That's a there. And coming upright. Nice straight leg. And pull that foot down. Great. Well done. And relax.